Hi everyone, welcome to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum's Songwriter Session, presented by SunTrust. I'm your host, Michael McCall. I'm on staff here at the museum. And for the next 45 minutes, we'll listen to the songs of the talented Victoria Banks. And between songs, she and I will discuss her work as a songwriter and recording artist. Afterward, at 8 p.m. Central, Victoria will be on the Hall of Fame's Instagram page to take viewer questions. But before you start, I want to remind you that today is Giving Tuesday, and we hope you will consider making a donation to the museum's Coronavirus Relief Fund. The pandemic continues to have significant financial implications for our nonprofit museum, and a donation in any amount will make a critical difference as we move ahead. To support the museum and its mission, click the donate button now or text donate to 833-977-2643. So I'm going to tell you more about our guest, Victoria Banks, in a few minutes, but I know you guys are all eager to hear some music. So Victoria, do you have a song for us?
Sure. Let me get myself going here. All right, I'll start off with one that I had recorded by Cassadee Pope. So this is called Still Got It. Flew home only here for the weekend. Didn't think I'd run into you. Life is good, doing fine. How have you been? I see you got a couple new tattoos. Time and tears go by, but you look in my eyes, and I go back in time. Seeing you here after all of these years, you still got it with your shy boy grin and your suntan skin just glowing, glowing. You still got it in your Stones t-shirt and the way you flirt, and you don't even know it. Only here a couple days, I don't got no time to waste. Don't wanna hide it, babe, I got a confession to make. If you're wondering where my heart is, if you want it, oh baby, you still got it, yeah, you still got it. If you want it, babe, you still got it. You still got it, yeah, you still got it. If you want it, take me down to the pier like you used to, flashing back to 17 again. Hands brush accidentally right on cue, still electric as it was back then. I watch you watch the sky with your constellation eyes, and I go back in time, falling into this second chance first kiss. You still got it with your shy boy grin and your suntan skin just glowing, glowing. You still got it in your Stones t-shirt and the way you flirt, and you don't even know it. Only here a couple days, I don't got no time to waste. Don't wanna hide it, babe, I got a confession to make. If you're wondering where my heart is, if you want it, oh baby, you still got it, yeah, you still got it. If you want it, everything fades, burns out, but you got away. You're finding me in my dreams at night. Everything changed, guess one thing stays the same. Still into you after all of this time. You still got it with your shy boy grin and your suntan skin just glowing, glowing. You still got it in your Stones t-shirt and the way you flirt, and you don't even know it. Only here a couple days, I don't got no time to waste. Don't wanna hide it, babe, I got a confession to make. If you're wondering where my heart is, if you want it, oh baby, you still got it, yeah, you still got it. If you want it, boy, you still got it. You still got it, yeah, you still got it. If you want it, babe, you still got it. You still got it, boy, you still got it. If you want it.
Yeah, great. So let me tell you more about this gifted woman that's sitting here. Victoria is a native of Ontario, and she has been the Female Artist of the Year and Songwriter of the Year for the Canadian Country Music Association. And I think you can hear both in her performance and in that song why she earned such an honor. Victoria has released 3 albums of her own and has toured with artists from Reba to Winona. She's had her songs recorded by more than 50 artists, including hits by Lauren, Alaina, Sara Evans, Carly Pearce, and Jessica Simpson. If you watched the recent Academy of Country Music Awards, you heard Grammy nominee Mickey Guyton perform What Are You Gonna Tell Her, a song Victoria co-wrote, and to me as a father, it's one of the more emotionally moving country singles of 2020. Victoria's had songs included in the film Breakthrough and TV programs American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, Nashville, and most recently Songland. Here's something few songwriters can say. The Nashville Ballet choreographed a program, City of Dreams, to Victoria's songs, and the company premiered the ballet to the live accompaniment of tonight's guests. So she performed as they danced. Victoria also hosts a podcast, The Table, featuring interviews with notable women in entertainment. So you can see why we're honored to feature Victoria tonight on our songwriter session. And I'm going to give Victoria the floor back. Ready for another song?
Sure. So I thought I would do the first song that I ever got recorded when I moved to Nashville. And this song, at the time when I wrote it, I was sitting cross-legged on the floor of my postage stamp-sized apartment, earning a whopping $12,000 a year as a songwriter on my very first songwriting deal. And so the first time I got to hear the song come back at me through the radio speakers, it was in my car that I had to start by shorting the starter out with a beer can. So, but the speakers worked great in that car. So this was recorded by Sara Evans, and it was on her Born to Fly record, and it's called Saints and Angels.
Yeah, great. That song has an interesting sort of contrast, and it's the title Saints and Angels, but it also sings about our flaws, our mistakes, and stuff.
Yeah, that was a title that I carried around for a long time in my hook book, my book of titles. And whenever I think of something that sounds like an interesting title, I write it in there, but I don't always necessarily know what it's going to mean. And with that song, I had no idea. I just thought it sounded like a cool title. And then one day, all of a sudden, when I was falling in love, I looked through my hook book and I saw that title and it just popped out at me and I suddenly knew what I wanted to say with it and wrote it in about 45 minutes by myself, just super fast. Because, you know, sometimes it all lines up and the experience you're going through just lines up with the words and the feeling of the song.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that idea that love can lift us out of our flaws sometimes with two people together. I also noticed beginning of the song, first half, you say we, and sort of the couple, or also could be a universal kind of a notion, and then the second half is you're talking more directly and specifically to one person.
Yeah, when I wrote it, when it became a single, it was released right before Sara Evans, or right before the planes hit the towers on 9/11. So it came out a couple of weeks before that, and I wrote it thinking, oh, this is just a love song between two people. And a few days after that happened, I heard it come through the radio speakers again with the second verse, Sarah's voice taken out of the second verse, and instead they had put in overdubs of the first responders sound bites.
Wow.
And they had made it into a song about that, a tribute to the first responders. And I was just so struck by that, because I thought, I never knew when I was holding the pen for this song to come through what it could actually mean on that level. And it turned out it could be about a much bigger love than I thought. Yeah. But that's the fun thing about being a songwriter. You don't always know what you're holding the pen for.
Yeah, what a great example that you never know exactly how other people are going to hear your songs or what it might be used for. You know, so, are you ready for another one?
Sure.
I know we are.
Okay. So I'm going to do one that's off my latest CD, and I'm really proud of this. It's the record is called Uncovered, and I produced everything on it myself. I played every instrument, engineered it all, sang it all, and I had no business doing that, but I thought, hey, I'll try. And then I released it during COVID, so it's out there. I haven't been able to tour and support it, but this is one of the songs on that CD, and it's one that I love. I wrote it with Riley Roth and Emily Shackleton, and it was inspired by looking back on life at 17. So I have two little girls, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I was lucky to become a parent by adoption both times. And if anything, that just reminds you that your children are borrowed, which every child is anyway, right? So I'm watching them grow, and I'm watching, like clocks ticking in front of me, how fast it all goes. And it really makes me think back to when I was 17 and I packed up my car and drove off out of my parents' driveway. And I don't think that I really realized the importance of that moment at the time when I was sitting in the driver's seat. And I wasn't thinking about the look on my parents' faces then. But I'm certainly thinking about it now, and I know I'm headed for that day at some point from the other end. So wanted to write this song. we wrote this song to ourselves at 17. So this is called 17 again. Do me a favor, hug your mama, kiss your daddy, tell your sister that you'll miss her. I know it's in your nature to want to skip past, but now I look back at the pictures. It makes me wishful one more day, waking up in that twin-sized bed, seeing you in the mirror like you were then, innocent, wild and free, a younger me. I see you dying to fly out that driveway, to sing out to wide open spaces on the highway. It ain't wrong to want what's next, chase those dreams up ahead. But trust me, tap the brakes before you leave, 'cause you're never gonna be 17 again. Lie in the backyard, running your bare feet, wish wish on one more dandelion. Yeah, just for fun. Talk with your best friend. She's gonna listen. I know you don't know yet, but it's hard to find them. And she was a good one, but I see you dying to fly out that driveway, to sing out to wide open spaces on the highway. It ain't wrong to want what's next, chase those dreams up ahead. But trust me, tap the brakes before you leave, 'cause you're never gonna be 17 again. Oh. Even if I could tell you to slow down, you wouldn't listen. You don't know what I'd give now, just for one more minute of dying to fly out that driveway, to sing out to wide open spaces on the highway. But I see you not looking back in that rear view. You don't even know what you're leaving behind you. It ain't wrong to want what's next, chase those dreams up ahead. But trust me, tap the brakes before you leave, 'cause you're never gonna be 17 again. 17 again. Do me a favor, hug your mama, kiss your daddy, tell your sister that you'll miss her.
Nice. I think those songs about parents giving advice to their kids, you know.
Yeah,
and,
they
it's
never
a
listen, though, do they?
You know, you talked about taking on the challenge of producing, recording. Did you play all the instruments? And today it's, on one hand, easier with technology, but on the other hand, there's technological things that people have to know to record, and if you're doing any programming or something like that. Talk about the challenges of doing it that way.
It's a real learning curve. So I programmed everything in Logic for my record and played whatever I could live, and programmed the rest. And so I just had to really sort of immerse myself in that for a while. And it's such a rabbit hole that you can go down. So you really kind of have to pick your battles. And for me, I did hire someone to mix the record, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That would take me years to learn how to do that. But it was a really great feeling to master it enough to be able to do that for myself, just because there are a lot of songs that I've written that have never seen the light of day. I'm writing Monday to Friday, a song a day, sometimes 2, occasionally 3, and I've been doing that for 23 years now as a staff songwriter and a professional writer. So that is thousands of songs, and there's only a few that have ever gone out into the world. So when I have the ability to record it myself, then it gives me a chance to get some of those out there. So that's usually what I do with my own records. I'll save my favorite gems that nobody else has recorded, or ones that they have that I love to do my own spin on and put them out on my own records.
Yeah, that's something that not everyone knows, that even the most successful songwriters probably have thousands of songs nobody has heard.
So many songs.
Yeah,
so many. Yeah, it's painful sometimes when you think about all the ones that are collecting dust, and every time you're writing a song, you're just pouring your heart into it. It's a little piece of you that goes into that song. So that's why it's such a special thing to get a chance to come out and play and share some of the songs that just have a special place in my heart. Yeah. So.
And you're a recording artist, and always like songwriters who record their own songs, because I think you hear a different take on it.
Yeah, and I spent a good 10 years writing songs for other people before I ever started making my own records. So I always thought of myself as a songwriter and never really as a performer, but kind of became a performer out of necessity, because I just had this burning desire to share these songs that were accumulating, the ones that didn't find a home with another artist.
And that led to you being the Canadian Female Vocalist of the Year and Songwriter of the Year, which sort of benefits both sides of what you were doing. So
it was kind of a crazy thing that I fell into that I did not expect to happen at all. So it was a really cool experience to get to do that and to feel what it's like when you actually get to be in front of an audience and share the songs and get the feedback from them. And because as a songwriter, you're separated from that. You're writing them for an empty room and handing them off to someone else to record. So it's been a great thing to experience both sides of that. But being a songwriter keeps this humility to the whole experience because, as a songwriter, the best thing you can hope for is to be the small print under somebody else's name, So that's what everyone's aspiring to, and it's just about the craft and making it the best it can possibly be, and it's not about the ego. So that's one of the things I love about it is just the enjoyment of being in the room and collaborating and seeing the magic of a song coming together. And if you're doing it for that reason, then that's what keeps you coming back. And it's not about the success or who records it or what goes out there. So, yeah.
Great. Well, then we should give you a chance to sing another one of your songs.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to do one that was on my Indigo record, which is a couple records back. And so we always talk about, where do song ideas come from? And I found that the best song ideas come when you just get your heart completely smashed by somebody. And so I did a really good job of that when I moved to Nashville. And boy, oh boy, I got a lot of songs out of that experience. But it's true, when you're brokenhearted, everywhere you look, there are song ideas just falling out of the trees onto your head. And the funny thing is, though, that once you go through all that roller coaster and you get into a happy and healthy and well-adjusted relationship, it's really hard to think of what to write about because there's no drama. So it's like you have to live vicariously through other people's drama or else go back and mine your own. But anyhow, I was talking with my co-writers, Phil Barton and Preston from the band Low Cash, and I was kind of complaining to them in this weird way, saying, I love my husband, but boy, oh boy, I feel like he's ruined me for songwriting because he's just great to me. And there's no drama. And they looked at me and said, hey, I think that's a song idea right there. So we got back together about a week later because I had woken up in the middle of the night and had a lightning bolt and just thought of the first few lines of this song. And we finished writing it together. So this is called Ruined. Like a new Corvette, once you hit that gas, there's no going back. Like a bottle of the best champagne, nothing's quite the same once you've tasted that. You went and did it, now I'm addicted. Falling for you is like a one-way ticket. If I ever lose you, what am I supposed to do? Anybody else's lips, baby, I'm ruined. I'm so ruined by you.
that's, again, I think if somebody heard that the chorus was "Baby, I'm Ruined" and it was about a relationship, they're probably not going to think this is a love song.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so there's a nice contrast.
The fun spin on the spin on words. We're always looking for that spin in the songwriting world, trying to find a way to make you hear things in a new way. So yeah.
You know, and the other thing I've heard songwriters say when you talk about, you know, sometimes it's harder or easier to write, you know, when you've been heartbroken as opposed to when you're in love. The other part is the ballad versus the up-tempo song.
Yes. Yes.
Is one of them easier for you? And that was an up-tempo song that had meaning to it. And
Up-tempo, like true up-tempo songs are always really hard to write just because it's hard to avoid the cheese factor if it's a happy song. And so it's like finding that place where there's sort of a push and pull between great, like, you know, happiness and a little pang of something in there, you know, to just kind of give it an edge. But yeah, I think I'm sort of a mid-tempo person, but I've sort of become that over all the years of writing. I think I started off writing ballads more easily, but writing for commercial radio, you kind of end up trying to push the tempo up more and more, and you end up writing a lot of mid-tempos, which can be great too. So yeah. I'm
going to ask you about a interesting thing you're doing called Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is?
So I have my coffee club, which is it's a way that people can hear my unreleased songs and the ideas behind them and the stories behind them. I love to share those things. So I created this little club where people can buy me a coffee, and they pledge to buy me a coffee or 2 or 3 every month. So it's like a $3 pledge per coffee. And you sign up to pledge that, and in return you get access to all of these little bits of behind the scenes music info, little voice recordings of me coming up with my song ideas at 4 o'clock in the morning with a really croaky, embarrassing voice. And then you hear how it evolved through the day into a guitar vocal work tape that we made as songwriters in the room the moment the song was finished. And then you get to hear the demo in the studio, and then if the song was cut, the final recording of the song. So some of those songs that nobody else has ever heard and probably never will hear, they get out there to my secret coffee club. So you can go to victoriabanks.net and click on my blog that says Coffee Club, and you can join that way if you want to hear some embarrassing stuff. But it is fun to hear how a song evolves and what that first idea is behind the song. And
a little peek behind the curtain a little bit. So that's great. Yeah, how fun. Is it working out well? Have you
it is, yeah. It is fun, and I do love, like, I'll share where a lot of the time I'll sing into my phone as I'm writing the first idea. So I'll be trying to find the melody and trying to find the right line, and so I'll try a bunch of different lines. And so I have those recordings of those things, and those are the things that I share.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm guessing you're not going to play one of your, what you would call, embarrassing songs next, but
I'll try to avoid that. It never stopped me from sharing them, though.
It's up to you.
Songwriter oversharing, that's what I call it.
Whatever you like here, you can.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do next.
Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to switch to the piano, actually, and I think I'll play What Are You Going to Tell Her next.
Great.
So move over there. Okay, so this was a song that I wrote with Mickey Guyton and Emma Lee and Karen Kozowski. I've been writing with Mickey for close to 10 years, trying to find that song that radio wanted to hear from her to try and break her career. And it was so frustrating, and we wrote so many songs from the heart, and after a while we just started to realize that the deck was very much stacked against her as a woman in country music and as a Black woman in country music. So we wrote this song inspired by her experience in that, by my experience as a mom of daughters, all the things that I think about and the questions that I ask myself as a mom. So it was a beautiful thing seeing her perform it on the ACM Awards recently and backed up by Keith Urban. So I'm gonna try to render it here. I'm no Mickey Guyton, but I'll do my best. She thinks life is fair God hears every prayer, and everyone gets there ever after. She thinks love is love, and you work hard, and that's enough. Skin's just skin, and it doesn't matter. And that her friend's older brother's gonna keep his hands to himself. And that somebody's gonna believe her when she tells. But what are you gonna tell her when she's wrong? Will you just shrug and say it's been that way all along? What are you gonna tell her when she figures out that all this time you built her up just so the world could let her down? Yeah, what do you tell her? What are you gonna tell her? Do you just let her pretend that she could be the president? Would it help us get there any faster? Do you let her think the deck's not stacked and gay or straight or white or black? You just dream and anything can happen. What are you gonna tell her when she's wrong? Will you just shrug and say it's been that way all along? What are you gonna tell her when she figures out that all this time you built her up just so the world could let her down? Yeah, what do you tell her? What are you gonna tell her? Do you tell her not to fight? Is it worth the sacrifice? Can you look her in the face and promise her that things will change? What are you gonna tell her? Maybe you can't, 'cause there ain't no way you can't explain what you don't understand. What the hell do you tell her? What the hell do you tell her? What are you gonna tell her? What are you gonna tell her?
Right. You talked about writing with Mickey and trying to find a hit. That sort of broke every rule. You just spoke about it a little while ago.
It's
a
true.
ballad. It's
Yeah.
very emotional. Country radio is not necessarily accepting of songs that make people want to pull over and cry. You know,
That's true.
Anymore they used to. I think
Yeah.
that's. But as you were writing it, did you think about those things, or did you just say this is an idea?
Yes, Mickey had just come back from a music event in LA where she had walked around and looked at all of the incredible female artists that were there in the room, and then looked around to see all of the men in suits who were the business people that were surrounding them. And she was thinking about how women often don't own themselves, don't control their own career. And she had come back feeling just defeated and beaten, and she had experienced that her own way for all those years. And so she shared that, and it was really emotional. And I shared how I felt about being a mom, and we started to ask ourselves, is it getting better? Is it going to get any better? And we were feeling hopeless, frankly, at the time, and we just decided to write that. And we knew that we had to write the cold, hard, ugly truth to really say what we needed to say. And some of those lines, we had moments when we were like, radio's never going to play this. And then we thought, it doesn't matter. We got to say it anyway. And ironically, that was the song that started things rolling for her. And when she performed it at the at the country radio seminar to all of the radio programmers that were visiting Nashville from across the country. They gave her a huge standing ovation, and it was a beautiful thing. They still didn't get played on the radio, but it was just a beautiful thing, and it's had a huge amount of press for her, and just it's wonderful to see her getting the attention she deserves.
And it is a song that did bring her attention, even if it wasn't played on radio. I know she's now a Grammy nominee, but
Yes.
we're also hearing a lot more about Mickey Guyton these days than we used to, and that's great to see. You switched to piano on that song. Talk about the difference of writing on guitar as opposed to piano, or do you have a preference, or does it depend on?
Well, I grew up in a little bit of a strange family in Ontario. Muskoka, Ontario was the cottage country area where I was from, where a lot of people would come to visit in the summer. And in the winter, everyone had the good sense to leave except us. And we stayed there and shoveled like 12 feet of snow. And my dad would tie himself to the chimney and shovel the roof off. He's still doing that. And he's 81 years old. He's still doing that in Canada. Oh, gosh, but it keeps him young. But anyway, we would have to do things to entertain ourselves, and we would, sing Bach in 4-part harmony around the dinner table and stuff like that. So I studied piano lessons, and that was my thing growing up. I sang classical music and played piano, but I learned to play what was on the page very strictly. And I had a really hard time when I became interested in songwriting and discovered there was music that had been written past 1940. I started to explore songwriting, and so I picked up the guitar at that point, and I just taught myself, got a chord chart and taught myself how to play guitar. So I've found over the years that guitar is an easier way for me to just kind of let loose and write. But I have to think a lot about piano, but I still go back to piano sometimes, and it lends itself to certain songs. So there's something about piano and the chord, the voicings of the chords are different on piano than what you can play on guitar. So it sometimes can be more poignant sounding, more beautiful sounding.
I was going to say, with that song from Mickey, that piano part is as important as the lyrics in a way. It just weights the emotion down into it, So
and I play it on guitar sometimes, but it's just not the same.
Right.
It needs that piano accompaniment. Yeah.
So are you going to stay? We have, I think, time for one more song.
Sure, we have time for one more.
Want to stay at the piano for that?
So I'll stay here.
Okay.
Why don't I do a Christmas song?
All right.
So, it's the beginning of the season. I think the Christmas songs have been playing on the radio for a couple weeks already this year because we kind of need it. But I'm going to do a song that I wrote that was on the soundtrack of a movie that I actually acted in my one and only screen acting experience. It's a movie called Christmas Lodge, and it was a Thomas Kincaid produced Christmas movie, a really sweet, sort of Hallmark style Christmas movie. And it's actually every season it comes back, because if you look on Amazon, like top streamed movies recommended for Christmas, there it is right now. It comes back every year, and I always get texts from my friends and from family members and people from far and wide going, I think I just saw you on TV. So anyhow, this was a song that I wrote for that movie, and it's called The Greatest Gift. I don't need the music, I don't need the lights, or the presents piled up underneath the tree. All I need is you here, and I'll be satisfied. Baby, that's what Christmas is to me. 'Cause the greatest gift I know, it's not wrapped in paper, it's not tied up with a bow. Of all my dreams come true, the greatest gift is you. You don't have to buy me things that I don't need. You don't even have to spend a dime. When you're here beside me, my It's the greatest gift I know. It's not wrapped in paper, it's not tied up with a bow. Of all my dreams come true, the greatest gift, oh, the greatest gift, the greatest is you. Ooh.
What a beautiful holiday song. So, thank you, Victoria. This has been, we appreciate your time, your talent, and coming by and being part of our songwriter session. Yeah,
Thanks
so,
for having me.
so
It's great to be here and to play. And hello to everyone out there.
Right.
I wish you could be here in the seat, but this is the next best thing.
Yeah, great. And for everybody out there, please, we invite you to join Victoria and ask your questions starting at 8 p.m. Central on the Hall of Fame Instagram page. The songwriter session will be back next Tuesday, December 8th, with Country Music Hall of Fame member Bobby Braddock. So that's a really special one. If you haven't heard the Hall or haven't seen the Hall of Fame special Big Night at the Museum, I urge you to do so. It's on the museum's YouTube channel. The film presents unprecedented performances that place many of country music's most treasured instruments into the hands of modern masters. And one last reminder, this is Giving Tuesday, and we hope you will consider making a gift to the museum's Coronavirus Relief Fund. Click the donate button or text donate to 833-977-2643. So like I said, meet us over at Instagram and come back next week to see Bobby Braddock. And I hope you're all having a great holidays.